Hey guys, Marshall here again. Really excited to bring to you some more content. This is just mainly it's difficult to describe the importance, but you can go through life and just not really think about how you sound to other people. You know what you're actually doing wrong until you really get involved in like self development, and just then you start to have this new perception of the world and new perception to how interactions go with people. Um, and often you'll realize that, other people are kind of, in a way trying to control you, and they'll try to sell you on things almost, which isn't a bad thing because you kind of want that dynamic. You want people to try to be, in a way trying to sell themselves to you because you don't want to be the person that's trying to convince somebody something. um, and oftentimes you can be trying to convince something to somebody that just doesn't even matter. And that's something that I just sort of uh, I didn't think about before, but at times I fell into that position where I was trying to sell my personality to people in a way instead of just kind of developing the vibrance of it, or try to sell these certain try to convince people to the importance of self development. I'm also like, as soon as you start trying to sell people on it, unfortunately, it doesn't really feel good because you're just trying to get that outcome in a way. And so it's just a very important aspect. But today we have a lot of other uh, different concepts, and I discussed this before. I discovered like this discussed the spectrum of different things that you can evaluate. Obviously, you don't want to be always, in your head evaluating things, but whenever you can take a step back and, like, for me, example, I can sort of evaluate my vlogs, these uploads in a way, and see what's going on, what's wrong. Am I not self-expressing enough? Is my vocals not well enough? There's all these certain aspects that if you lay them all out, which I think I'm going to try to create some sort of document here to sort of lay out all the different aspects of self improvement that I've sort of realized lately, but also in the long run, I want to. Ooh, in the long run, hold on one second. Just a minor malfunction there. Uh, in the long run, I'd like to, have this all laid out and just kind of expand on it, maybe even more in depth. It could be like a fundamental way of me, teaching other people this stuff. But I just created a list. I got like 100 different, things that can sort of be developed on spectrums. I'm gonna go with some here: collaborative versus competitive. On one end of the spectrum, you have collaborative, other one competing, and so this is an awesome thing that I never really thought about as much as, like, how many people really try to compete versus find ways to build off of, like, their friendships and so forth. It's one thing to really evaluate yourself and be like, what end of the spectrum am I on, and how can I sort of balance this spectrum? Am I trying to compete? Am I trying to sell people on things? Am I looking to always try to demonstrate that I'm more valuable in a way? Are you trying hard and like in that competitive frame, or are you just kind of vibing and you kind of just you see that person and the social interaction becomes collaborative, a little give and take, a little jocularity, some fun. um, and so figure out where you are on this spectrum, and this is just one of many to think about as you sort of progress towards being a more fun, in socializing and in business, lightening moods, and even you'll even notice, like, if you really can become in tune, you'll notice whenever you need to change that sort of um, dynamic in a way, and just kind of focus on collaborating with somebody. And oftentimes, you can sort of that's a great frame to control. And in this frame, you got somebody that's trying to compete with you. And I've actually had this happen before, where with my roommate back in the day. I was like, he was always trying to kind of, tit for tat, find a way to get under my skin. And I was like, hey, dude, I'm your friend. Why are you trying to compete with me? I'm just here vibing. I'm having a beer. Why are you trying to bring me down to a level or something like that? A lot of times that happens. People are trying to compete, trying to bring you down to a level so that maybe they feel a little bit higher up. So that maybe they feel a little bit more comfortable with expressing themselves. And so whenever you really understand that that stuff's out of your control too, like, you can even ask the questions like, why are you trying to compete with me? And you can control that from your mind. Why are you trying so hard to put me down in a way? Like, what are you trying to get at here? If you can that is a great way to stay in the moment and just kind of ask those questions and try to dissect what that person is doing, because they're not even dissecting it themselves. So all of a sudden you're bringing this stuff to air, like, why are you trying to compete with me, man? We're just having a beer at the bar. Now, or you could be like, oh yeah, cool, man, you're really killing it these days. You validating them on them, they're trying to compete and stuff like that. It's certain things that, like, it just shows like you're very comfortable with yourself, and you can just sort of control that frame and not necessarily need to compete, not looking for an outcome, not trying to sell your, you're not trying to close a sale, you know what I mean? And with that girl or guy, whatever's going on, that is, it's not a healthy way to even have a relationship if you're always trying to compete with your spouse in a way. And so this spectrum can cover all kinds of different things: employee interaction, relationships, just opening conversation with random people. All of this stuff, it can be covered. And oftentimes, there is certain aspects of life where you need to be competitive. But yes, you're going to be able to notice whenever those are the type of situations where you need to be competitive, and just kind of compete in your own way. And whenever I was growing up, I was in high school. I was a very good soccer player, and oftentimes people were trying to compare themselves to what I could do. But oftentimes there wasn't a lot of people on the team that could do the stuff that I could do, and so they were constantly trying to sell people on the idea that they're better than me, and I was so detached from this that whether or not I was better or not, it seemed like I was better because I wasn't trying to compete. I was just like, oh, I'm just focusing on what I'm doing. I'm just doing me, I'm going to make that play. And you know what? That guy that's trying to compete and be the best person, I'm going to let them do their thing, and I might even set them up to score a goal. And then sometimes you even set that guy up to score a goal, and he scores a goal, and he's still upset with you. And he's like, damn right, you should have passed me that ball. I'm going to score every time you get me that ball there. Get me the ball, Which, I appreciate people that want the ball, but hey, man, you just scored. You should be probably celebrating with your team instead of, being stuck in this like downward spiral of competitiveness that, like, you know, you're on the same team with somebody and you're still creating this dynamic. And so this happens in athletics and all. It can be kind of a downward spiral. And if you don't really evaluate where you are on that spectrum, you could spend your whole life trying to compete with people, compete, and you're going to lose out on opportunities to collaborate and have amazing experiences with people that can just really change your life. And I'm just going to wrap that up right here because this was a good segment, and I have a list of 100 of these different sort of spectrums, or well, ideas, a couple ideas on both ends of the spectrum, where we're going to figure out where you sit on them and how you can sort of think about where you're at so that you can sort of develop yourself, because everything really comes down to you and what you're dealing with, because everybody deals with something different, and you need to be attentive to whatever it is that's going on in your head, whatever it is that's sort of causing you to not grow and not develop. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and join me for the next video. And hey, feel free to check out the past videos on the chakras. We evaluate a lot of chakras, a lot of ways to build yourself spiritually, and we'll even cover some of those things in the future, because that's just intertwined in this whole development thing. So thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.